Now, let me explain what's going on. I wasn't born, wasn't raised here, but hell, be crude about it, I came here by choice, not because somebody had a nice, comfortable screw and somebody got birthed 9 months later. No! All right. I all right. Y'all who were born here, you didn't choose it. You just came. All right. Now, excuse me. I'll leave it at that. My other nephew over here being a comedian. But now, seriously, this place is located in an ideal patch of geography. The main river on this continent, the Mississippi, flows through here. Now, you've heard of Tennessee Valley Authority. Well, there is a Tennessee Valley, and it runs northeast from Memphis, crosses the Mississippi here, and it winds up getting to the East Coast. Now, everything used to get blocked by the Appalachian Mountains, and it's still hard to get to the other side of them, so things go up. And when they come down the other way and cross the Mississippi, if you take that highway, I-40, that runs down that valley, it comes all the way from New York, goes through D.C., comes through here, goes down through Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Nevada, and it gets into California. I-40 runs from far East Coast all the way to the West Coast. This is the main transcontinental highway. Everything winds up going through Memphis that's shipped in North America. Statistically, geographically, it is the distribution point for North America, whether you're talking about Canada, U.S., or Mexico. It used to be one of the most important places in America when cotton was king. It's no longer king, and there's a whole lot of racism associated with that era, but that's not what is going on now. And it's unfortunately that these clowns that run this city have been letting it slide into obscurity and going to hell. Here's Toulouse coming up. Now, what do we have here? We've got Europe, the Mediterranean, North Africa is anxious to get directly into Memphis. They don't want to put stuff on what for them is an awkward container. These containers you see on American trucks, trains, and they have on these container ships. They don't like those things. They have some standardized containers they use for trucks, trains, planes, and barges. The cheapest way to ship heavy goods in the world is by water. So what they have been doing for the last 35, 40 years on a limited basis is loading up barges in Europe. In Europe, since they depended on water power, most of the factories and manufacturing centers over there are located on waterways. So they load these barges up, float them to the Mediterranean, put them on ocean-going barge transports, bring them over to New Orleans. They look like 1,000-foot-long streamlined oil tankers. They drop the rear hatch, float the loaded barges out. They don't run them through customs. They get tows and they bring them up to Memphis to the world's largest barge unloading facility on President's Island, and that's where it's first run through customs. If they come through Memphis, they save the time to warehouse the products, the goods, the bulk material on the East Coast. They don't have to put up with mob pilferage. They don't have to bribe anybody, and it's cheaper. And they cut out the transportation cost of getting it from the East Coast to Memphis, where they get it into general distribution. They can come right here. Now, we've been blocking that, consciously blocking it. 22 years ago, I had a meeting that led to a series of about 9 or 10 meetings with some people that a lot of you in here would not need to be around because they're not nice people, but they make things happen in the world. And they wound up getting a study done by a Wall Street, well, let's say it's a Wall Street analyst, okay? And there was a big dining room table longer than this room, and they had everything laid out, and they said, "You're right." I said, "This is the place to get in, and we've taken your advice, tried to get in, but we keep getting blocked." So we made the determination back then when we looked into it, and they had some very interesting resources that nobody around here has from where they were situated. And it was determined that there are some big fish in a medium-sized pond. It would be very small fish in a very large pond if what they had happened. Now, the way they deal is like this. They were discussing at one of the tables, said they got 50 million barrels of oil in through a program that somebody came up with to get around American customs. And they said, "And we gave him $5 a barrel. When we got to 20 million barrels, he said he didn't want any more. What do you want?" I said, "Just be my friend, because I want good government for that city I lived in." So they're trying to get in here. And we could bring them in here. Now, if we bring them in here, their job's based on that just being the input for very heavy bulk materials that they want to distribute around North America. But there's more. Up here, Ford Motor Company is hiring 27,500 people in the next 4 years. They want this area that is now known as Mason to be called Blue Oval City. Now, to hell with Ford being able to name a city. Found on roadside dead and disabled. I don't like Ford. Sorry if I offended somebody. I'm bad luck when it comes to them. Now, two of my opponents are plotting to get rich off of what's happening in Mason. Don't ask me how I know, but I have my espionage sources, and I listened to them while they were talking about who knows what and how you can get it. See, they've got scams like, for example, taking over Walmart structures that have been discarded because the Walmarts have gone out, turning them into jails and renting the jails back to the municipality or the county. Or the ones that this same bunch uses in Memphis is they buy up property from the city that's sold to them cheap, and the city pays them rental for the property that it once owned, where the monthly payments are more than what they pay for the whole property. Now, we can turn that around so that manufacturing capacity that's supposed to be making all of these electric entry-level Ford vehicles is turned to our advantage. Now, 35 miles east, Cadillac has a factory they're building too, but you see, Cadillac is not letting the fix go on, and we're not hearing about it. So we will have Cadillac making upscale electric vehicles, Ford making electric vehicles. What does that mean? Well, the largest car manufacturing center in the world, California, has decreed that in what is about 13.5 years from now, no new cars will be sold in California unless they're all electric. All right, the 7 largest car manufacturers in the world have decreed that nothing but electric cars are going to be sold in the next, well, 14 years now. What's going on is everybody's heard of Motown, Detroit. Detroit is moving 45 minutes up I-40 to where Mason is because they are not building plants. anywhere else in the United States will be devoted to manufacturing electric cars. Mitsubishi is talking about getting in this area, but they're getting blocked by the people here. Where Firestone is, you've got the concrete slabs all ready for heavy industry. You've got John Deere that used to be here. International Harvester used to be here. They want to get that stuff, but they're being blocked because the people that get all our tax dollars can't get what they want out of it. So Ford actually wanted to get in Memphis, but they got talked into Mason because the property's cheap. The mayor of, well, I'll leave it unmentioned, of a certain county, based on inside information, bought 550 acres of rural land that's going to be midway between Mason and the principal locale of the factory, which is 12 miles away from that point, and that's going to be downtown Blue Oval City. Now, they're hiring 27,500 people into an area that currently has a population of 5,200. What does that mean? Well, the statistics on it suggested for every employee at a factory, you have at least 3 other people in that individual's family who live with him. So 3 times 25,000 is how many? 75, 80,000 people will be moving into the area. Now, how the devil do you support 85,000 people in a town that only has the infrastructure to deal with 5,200? You don't. So what these clowns that are running against me for mayor are about is the personal gain on being able to get in on the inside to build a town that's going to be between 150 and 250,000 people, which is much bigger than Jackson, Tennessee, which is 50,000 people in the next 5 years. Kroger's, Walmart, Target, Alco, beauty salons, barber shops, fast food places, all of these things, they're going to get in there, and they want a gold mine, and everything down here is supposed to be getting used to leverage that out. Now, some of you have heard how Wanda Halbert has been having problems with the clerk's office and why the distribution of the license plates is so slow.
Yeah.
There's a good reason. It's because of theft. Mayor Harris of the county and the state comptroller illegally have been going in every night and withdrawing the funds and deposits for the clerk's office to put in another general fund to leverage out some deals they have with Ford.
Yeah.
The governor of the state has a controlling interest in a battery manufacturing plant that will be doing most of the batteries for Ford and Cadillac.
Yeah.
And they're trying to leverage it out at our cost. So that's just happens to be illegal because there's some federal funds earmarked for the clerk's office and you can't commingle them, but some fools are. So she thought an employee was stealing, but it turned out to be the comptroller of the state and County Mayor Harris that had been going in, and guess what? You can go to jail for that. Now, Law Professor Harris ought to know better. But you see, that's behind the reasons that I get such negative press, because I'm cutting a whole lot of people out of a lot of money. Can you see the billions of dollars that are going in to build a town of 150 to 250,000 people inside of 5 to 10 years? Okay, now, one of my other opponents, he had the nerve to make his announcement down here on the park, at the park, Reedman's Park, where Nathan Bedford Forrest used to be displayed on Union Avenue. The bare undeveloped property is assessed at $12.5 million minimum. He and Tammy Sawyer got a resolution passed through the county commission that they drafted to sell that property to a nonprofit entity, supposedly to get rid of Nathan Bedford Forrest.
Yeah.
He chartered the nonprofit, and he's the CEO for it. They also introduced a resolution to sell that property for just $2,500 to them. The hospital wants to put a hotel on, the hospitals want to put a big hotel worth $1.5 billion on that property so that nonprofit would get the rent every month on a $1.5 billion hotel. And you better believe that the money will not go to charitable purposes. It's going to be spent on somebody's salaries and passed out under the table to the crooks that voted for that nonsense. We got rid of Nathan Bedford Forrest, but somebody's half-brother got paid $5,000 a month to store that statue. Also, Jeff Davis. Jeff Davis was on this park right next to the Metal Museum on the bluff on the Mississippi River. It's valued land-wise, this is for tax purposes, at $14.5 million. They got it without bid for $2,500, and they took down Jeff Davis. He was stored in that $5K a month storage facility that somebody rented out for $96 a month. Now, that is supposed to be rented to some developers so they can put some very upscale housing on there when they gentrify that area. That is a ripoff that somebody ought to be in a penitentiary for. And the fool actually stood there to advertise that chicanery. All right, one of the other ones was on television, Channel 13 this week, talking about the solution to the crime problem of this city is to make downtown more attractive for tourists so we get in more tourist dollars so we can do what? They never specified. But right now, the city of Memphis has put up $250 million to financing a major international hotel chain to expand their damn downtown hotel. I ran over 2 or 3 potholes going down this damn street.
I know you did.
We all did.
What the hell's going on with this picture? And what the devil, making downtown safe is going to make the rest of the city safe. You better make the rest of the city safe because people have cars. You can drive. Yo, man, we are gonna check this out, man. Check, man. You see through, man?
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, we need to do something really about the crime problem, and we need some more programs. And damn fool, you don't have a clue what program. How you gonna come up with a meaningful program? You don't even have a damn crew. And then you're going to throw money at somebody who's a bureaucrat that doesn't have a damn clue either. It is all about people, fool, not programs. Now, the point with that is, ain't nobody coming in here if it's too damn dangerous to be here.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, we have to bring in tourist industry. There's probably 1 out of 300 people around here have a damn thing to do with the tourist industry other than being part of it if you went to Beale Street one every 5 years where you couldn't find any place to park. Right. I guess the rest of us are supposed to check into a hotel when our power breaks down, water breaks down, the hotel will have a cistern on the roof and a generator so we can get electricity and we can ride the damn hotel limo out to the airport and not have to worry about criminality or potholes. The devil hell is wrong with this picture? You know where the old Greyhound Depot is? Yeah. They sold 25 acres sitting on that for just $600K. The city did. And the deal is they're supposed to rent it back for $1.5 million a month. Then they're going to have a 28-unit luxury development that ain't all of us going to get a chance to use in return for 25 acres of prime downtown property divested away from the control of the people of this city for $600K. Hell, it's got a value of 30-some damn million dollars. Anybody like this?
No.
All right, now next thing, I'm going to be brief. Don't want to run out of time here. This management wants to listen in. I think they are listening in. Is the police department?
Yeah.
All right. I won't go into the history of the thing and how it got to be a mess, but we've got a model for what to do with it. The Department of Defense has a civilian head known as the Secretary of Defense. The Army, Navy, Air Force, etc., have civilian secretaries of those departments and their subsecretaries. We should have an expansion or resumption of the use of the police director. The police director sits at the mayor's pleasure. He can fire him overnight. Doc Harrington did that his first term. He went through 7 of them in a few months because you're not doing your job. But this fool, Strickland, they call him, by the way, the other side, you know what their nickname for him is? Poppin' Fresh Doughboy. They don't like it. I'm trying to figure out who the hell likes it. Black folk, we don't. White folk don't either, so who likes it? So he appointed a chief who was in danger of getting indicted in Atlanta for wrongdoing.
That's right.
Went to North Carolina, was under investigation, and we offer her a job. And the first damn thing she does 2 weeks after she's here, she gets her weapons stolen from her. Hit them off. Hit them off. And doesn't have a clue.
Still don't know what it is.
So what I want to do is, let's restructure the police department instead of it being subject to civilian oversight, which is totally ineffective. How about putting it directly under civilian control, where the civilian director, sub-director of homicide, uniform patrol, traffic, sex crimes, juvenile matters, property crimes, civilians run it. The day-to-day uniform patrol group, civil service type, they can deal with the operation like they do with the military, but civilians control it. We need to use some of this money these clowns are throwing away on nothing. And we need some communications in the community. We need block captains, community captains who can cut straight through to the dispatcher without having to go through 911. We need some community patrols. Let's put fatherhood and manhood back in the hood so there's some control factors. I'd even be willing to use one thing the mayor can do under the state constitution, which is declare the need to form a militia, and not this Proud Boy crap, KKK crap, but good citizens, veterans, retired first responders, ordinary people who wouldn't mind going out in groups and patrolling. Hey, come here, young man, what you doing out here? Oh man, girl, don't you know this boy's mama? Yeah, she lived 2 streets over. She been having a lot of problems. What you doing out here? Get yourself home, boy. And look here, you want to go deal with this? We strapped.
Oh, yes.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the common defense. See, there are ways around this, and these dumb bozos in this town don't have any ingenuity. But I do. So do you. Nobody's putting it to use. What about juveniles? A friend of mine, Tara Sugarman's a new judge down there, expects profound changes because that place is criminal, the way it's been run for the last 64 years. The man that set it up, the late Kenneth Turner, from 1963 to 2006, dropped out of the 6th grade. For 45 years, the state Supreme Court wouldn't even let that dumb bozo hear a case. But he set it up so it's privatized. So the more money they want to make, the more criminality on the juvenile level they generate. So I assume Judge Sugarman is going to change that. He used to be the public defender in my courtroom for 10 years. I'm a pretty good lawyer on that. But we'll get some change. But what about having the police sign an agreement with the child, parent, and if you go through vocational training and academic rehabilitation, character development, which I intend to conduct, we don't profit in charges, so you stay out of the system. Meanwhile, we'll kick you behind if you mess up again. Right. See, let me say this. For a 10-year period when I was on the criminal bench, they did a statewide study. The criminal recidivism rate for violent crimes and other felonies was 80%. In my courtroom, I dropped it down to 18%. That's what Dennis was talking about when he was saying, folk walk up, Judge, you remember me? No. You gave me some time. Did I give you enough? Yeah, but it's that manhood thing. You know, you gave me a purpose. I got 5 grandchildren, 4 kids, been married for 29 years when you got through with me. And once you showed me, man, that was truth. I got 15 boys around the neighborhood. I'm trying to teach what you taught me.
That's right. Yeah.
See, I say the mayor ought to be able to walk up and down these streets and not need an armed guard because you represent the people. Man, don't mess with him, man. That's our guy, man. That's Granddaddy Brown, man. Right.
Makes sense.
You scared of hell? No, I'm not scared of you. I'm trying to recruit you, fool.
Right. That's what we do.
I want you, my warriors and workers and hunters. I'm the chief, damn it. And I was just the judge. Imagine what you can do as a mayor with all those resources in hand.
Yes, sir.
That's what we need. And see, that way we have trade that we bring out of Blue Oval. And you know what we do with it? Put it on the barges going the other way. Now, you know where it goes? Let me tell you where it goes. It goes back across the mid-Atlantic into the Mediterranean. Some of it gets into Europe, so this can be the conduit for all of these cars America wants to make for the world. Some of it can go through the Suez Canal on the east end of the Mediterranean and go to where? Asia. And then what happens in Asia? Oh, they'll be coming back empty unless you put cars from Asia. Mitsubishi, Toyotas, Hondas, Infinitis, Hyundais. And you can save 9,000 miles off the trip of shipping it from Asia to the port of Los Angeles and Long Beach and then putting it on a train to Memphis. You can ship it directly to Memphis by water, the cheapest way going. Just bring it back through the Suez Canal, through the Mediterranean, across the Atlantic to Memphis. See, we have that. And then what else are we going to do? They have these modular hydroelectric generators that Asia is using for tidal flow generation of electricity. But you see, tides might go in. I'm going to finish up, Niece. I'm going to finish up. The tides might go in for 4 hours one day and out for 3.5, and it varies during the year. And 3/4 of the expense is predicated on having storage facilities for the electric power generating. But see, Old Man River ain't gonna stop, according to geologists, for the next 1.5 million years. It's a continuous flow, no in and out. We take these modular generators that honestly, you can put one or two of them in the back of a large pickup truck. You can put them under floats, barges. You can put them on the bottom, bring them up and down and service them. The way they're constructed, there's no problem with silt and debris clogging them up. We could have, with the cooperation of the Corps of Engineers, a whole bunch of them. There's one channel, it's two channels that are 120 feet deep out there. And then on the side channels where the current is even stiffer, we can put them right in there and have a whole bunch and have all the energy we need. Matter tells me, and at that barbecue cooking contest, I was talking to the CEO. He says, brilliant idea. We've been talking about it. Why has nobody come up with it? Right. We could operate public transportation, expand it fivefold around here, and people wouldn't get charged but a nickel for a ride. And that would be so you could generate what you need to pay for the maintenance. So when you do that, we can have almost free transportation. And all of this energy that would be dumped in that way could be sold all the way from New Orleans to Louisville, Chicago, to Little Rock, Alabama, Georgia, all of these places you could sell the surplus energy. We wouldn't have to worry about this crap with TVA or Congressman Cohen's buddy who wants to sneak in on that and everybody fighting about it. Yeah. See, we could be the prototype, and in American history where somebody comes up with the initial thing, everybody comes in. That's how you got Silicon Valley. So Memphis could become the center for the development of hydroelectric power in all of these rivers, the Colorado River, the Columbia River, the Tennessee River, Mississippi River. We could use them to generate power, and of course you get opposition from the fossil fuel industry because that cuts them out of the loop, doesn't it? Yeah. And then every time you build a new commercial structure of a certain size, a public building or renovate one, you have to put solar electric arrays on the building so you can generate power to go into this net. And when you do that, American industry goes where the power is, not where the raw materials are. So what happens? We become the power center of the United States. That means all that heavy industry comes right in here. Yeah. So instead of the kids worrying about minimum wage, or us looking like, what the hell is going on? Black, white, brown, red, yellow at everybody's throat. No, what you have is $71.19 an hour, $136.14 an hour. And we make this the biggest city in America by the end of this century, and we sit on it. We don't do anything with it, but we can. But you have to have somebody in there who will let you do your people thing through him rather than bamboozling you so he or she can get personally rich. Now here's something to write down. followthemoney.org. followthemoney.org. Put my opponents' names in and see who they owe and how much they're getting from them and where it comes from. One opponent that they wanted me to withdraw from got $370-some thousand over the last few years. The list starts with Goldman Sachs. It goes down to, don't let me get started, Exxon and all of the rest of them. Some people are owned, and it's not fair to us for our tax dollars to be used to subsidize them getting chump change when everybody could get well off in this city. Yes, sir. So we need to make it peaceful, take the streets back. We need to put the people to work in making where they live a safe place so they get equity and personal accountability and an opportunity to do something about it. We need to bring in heavy industry. We need to make this the export capital of the United States because the East Coast is falling badly. It's too expensive, it's too crooked, and it's not the most efficient way to get stuff out of this country over elsewhere. So we have all of that, and that's why when I say send Brown downtown, take back your town, a vote for me is a vote for yourself. A dollar for me is a dollar for yourself. Let's bring this whole damn area together so it can work together to be what it can be together, so we get it together.
Preach, bro. Preach.
Thank you. All right.
Don't judge him, Joe Brown.